Yeah, yeah. Now lots of musicians credit you or the band as huge inspirations for them. Just a couple of names I thought were good to mention. I mean, big names like Depeche Mode, Take That, U2, The Killers, Tears for Fears, the Pet Shop Boys. So many huge names credit you.
OMD, really, you know, they were out sort of 2 or 3 years before us, and we were listening to their first couple of albums before we started. So it's quite, you know, funny that we're playing together now on this tour.
When I was 18 and 19, I heard a single called Electricity by Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark. It sounded so different from anything I'd heard. That really made me want to make electronic music because it was so unique.
People like Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark, Depeche Mode, Human League, all those guys.
The OMD stuff, Ultravox, all this kind of music from that new wave gave us ideas.
Electro pioneers, OMD. Listening back to these albums, you know, especially, you know, that first album is so ahead of its time in many ways. Yeah. And would the Pet Shop Boys have ever existed if it hadn't have been for Souvenir?
I will play a little bit of the OMG song. I love this song. I really love this song. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I'd written this.
Climb the mountain of your fear. You should see the view from here.
Before you post tonight that Gary was having a go at OMD again, I absolutely love OMD. I bought all their records, and they were a massive inspiration for Ed and myself.
Oh my God, OMD is like, yes. They were one of the most influential bands to us when we first started out, those early records.
Oh yeah.
Orchestral Manoeuvres in the Dark. ZZ Top guitarist and singer Billy Gibbons was said to be very impressed by this band and their sound. ZZ Top began to experiment with synths, and you can hear them on El Loco, their next record in '81.
The band has had such an influence in many ways, even to bands today like LCD Sound System, the XX, the Killers, and we can go to Nine Inch Nails and Depeche Mode too. I mean, that's got to feel good to you guys, right? That all these sort of like relevant current bands, you know, take their influences from bands like OMD.
It is flattering.
I was constantly listening to the first couple OMD records.
What kind of names pop up then when you think about those bands? Talking Heads is one, I think.
Sure, yeah, Talking Heads, OMD.
Okay.
I got my first synthesizer, which was a Korg micro preset. I bought it at a secondhand shop because this was right when MIDI was being introduced. And so clearly at that point, no one wanted keyboards that had no sync capability. And as time passed, I just ignored it. And then I read an interview with OMD, and they said that was their original synth. And I went back and started playing around with it. And now that's that's what I use for almost everything.
Architecture, Morality, Dazzle Ships. Those records, they really changed me when I was a kid. Like, I never had anything quite like it. It's really scary, futuristic landscape.
Joy Division, The Cure, later on OMD, which are huge influences on Future Islands.
The music I grew up with was bands like Talk Talk, OMD. I mean, that was the music I was sort of hearing about at school and I was listening to.
I loved all the way back to their first single, actually, which was on Factory Records. That was a song called Electricity. Architecture and Morality, an iconic album. Also, I love Dazzle Ships, actually, which is the album afterwards.